Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a great Monday. Got a little rain last night. Thank the Lord we didn't get the severe weather. Some folks did, I guess, on later on that night or south of us and east of us. But we got a good rain and thankful for the moisture. I know it'll help the wheat guys out. Just been waiting on another good rain on their wheat pastures. So anyhow, thanks for tuning in. Today we'll be in Colossians chapter 3, and we'll be in verse 12, and we'll read down through verse 14. And it says, so as those who have been chosen of God, and that's talking to the church and the believers, holy and beloved, put on a heart of compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Now that's a lot right there. I could talk a long time on that, but I'm going to read a little bit further. Bearing with one another and forgiving each other. Whoever has a complaint against anyone, just as the Lord forgave you, so also should you. Now he's talking about forgiving. So whatever it is, he said, God forgave you, so you need to be forgiving others. And beyond all these things, so let's say we put on a heart of compassion. We're kind, we're humble, we're gentle, we're patient, we're bearing with one another, we're forgiving one another. And he said, but beyond all those things, which is, again, a mouthful and a pretty tough deal. But notice this, put on love, which makes all those other things work, which is the perfect bond of unity. And that's what a lot of times we don't understand. All these things go together. You can't just do one of those and then expect it all to work out. And it's so important nowadays, especially with all the stress and the strife. I saw a deal the other day that the court, I don't remember what state it was, now they're labeling parents that come to school board meetings and come against the school board as domestic terrorists and all this stuff like this. And all that, and I don't know the whole. I didn't go research the whole of what happened at that school board meeting. I'm sure there's more to it than the headlines just showed to grab people's attentions. But no matter what's going on in our life, if we'll do that, what it does is it keeps a calmness in us. It keeps our peace. It keeps our patience. It keeps us. Not saying I've always done it, because I haven't. But when we look at this and we think about, Lord, how can I do that? Well, it goes back to love. It goes back to what I talked about yesterday, that God causes all things to work together for good for those who love Him. That means you're obedient to Him and called according to His purpose. And that's one thing that I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis more and more as each day goes by, is that people aren't called according to God's purpose. They're called according to their own purpose, or their purpose of their political platform, their purpose of what's going to make them money or them whatever. And we've lost our focus and purpose on what God has called us to be as Christians. And when we do that, any little thing then will bother us. Any little thing will set us off, and we lose hope, and we get mad, and we get frustrated. We want to fight. We want to argue. We want to complain. But he goes back, and I want to read that. I can put my glasses back on so I don't misread it. So I'm reading out of the New American Standard. My other Bible's still in the pulpit from yesterday. It says, now notice this, it says, and beyond all these things, we can bear with one another, we can forgive, we can be humble, we can be kind, but it says, above all these, put on love, which is the perfect bond of unity. In order for us to get along, that's what we got to do. Not the kind of love that our flesh wants or our emotions try to drive us to, but the agape love of God, that we come in God's love and God's peace and God's perfection in us, and we deal with problems. So, Kelly, I know you've got a lot going on as well in your personal life as well here at the church. We've had a lot. It's been very busy, especially the last couple of months. Last week was really busy. But when we look at this, how can then we make sure that we're putting on that love, and that all these other things then follow with it?
Well, we need to stay in His Word, because when we get out of His Word, that's when we get out of His will. So, and we don't want to follow that love. We don't want to turn the other cheek, and we don't want to put on the forgiveness or have the forgiveness for someone. And just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that you have to abide in their sin or abide in their whatever, but you've forgiven them and you've moved on. That doesn't mean you're going to be best friends. It doesn't mean any of that, but you've forgiven them, because unforgiveness hurts you. It doesn't hurt that person. So it's just staying in His Word and staying in focused. We need to be laser focused on Him. He will guide us in every step. Do we have to get up and say, Lord, what should I wear today? No, I don't feel like we have to do that. He did give us free will and common sense. Well, some of us get common sense. But I don't think we have to do that. But we need to stay laser focused in, okay, Lord, I have this opportunity today. What do I need to do? Where should I go? What would you like me to do? It's those opportunities, those type of things that He wants us to rely on Him and to lean on Him. I personally do not know how people get by without Him. Because I could not have made it through the past 18, 20 months without him. I could not have.
And people do, they get up, but again, they don't do it with the peace and the joy that we can have, or the strength that we know. Yeah, it's tough right now. Man, I'm maybe sitting at rock bottom. I'm struggling with whatever, be it grief, finances, whatever it is, losing my job over not getting vaccinated or whatever. There's a lot of that going. A lot of people that read today's fixing to lose their jobs over the vaccine mandate.
My child's one of those.
God still has this. Now, there's things out of control on this earth, sure, but that doesn't mean we have to be out of control. And when we have God's perfect love in us, it then lets us, then we can have that unity, which is that perfect bond of unity, and it's in Him. It's, again, not in a political party. It's not in anything but Him. And when we do that, like Kelly said, when we're in His Word, because there's a lot of things we'll feel or we'll think it's God, and when you line it up with the Word, it don't line up, so then it's not of Him, I promise you. If it goes against His Word, contrary to it, God didn't tell you that
and
or show it to you.
if you go off and do it and it's just a disaster, that wasn't God, because God's not going to make a disaster.
Yep, and He's no author of confusion or all the craziness that happens. So hang in there. Go back and read this today. Again, there's a lot more to it. I'd encourage you to read this whole 3rd chapter. It all goes together. For time's sake, we just kind of pick a little bit out of it and share a few minutes. Again, want to thank everybody that came out yesterday to our 9 and 11 o'clock service. Was missing some folks due to work and sickness and other. So we had some kids showing at the fair yesterday and some folks there as well. So Cowboy Church tonight, Lord willing, at 7 o'clock. We'll be back in our study of the Liberty Matrix, so we've got those handouts. We've got plenty. If you haven't made it, you can. It's real easy to catch up on what we're talking about. So come out tonight at 7 for that. Lord willing, we've got our church coming up, our kids' service at 6, our K through 5th graders on Wednesday, and then our junior high and senior high youth at 7. Adult Bible study at 7 as well. So then the following Wednesday, Lily and Casey's going to be doing our Women's Wednesday, so we'll have that going on. And then the last Wednesday of the month, we've got our kids' Fall Fest going on. So again, come out and support those. Mary James, or say Mary Holland. Mary James. Mary Holland, she didn't live here. She used to go to church here, but she's moved. But Mary James will be here this Sunday, Lord willing, 9 and 11 a.m. in both services. So come out. I promise you'll be blessed by her. She does a fantastic job and a great lady, a woman of God. So we're looking forward to being in service with her this Sunday. So God bless you. Hope you have a great week. Hang in there. I know we've got a chance of rain, I think, later on tonight, tomorrow, and different things or whatever. So hang in there no matter what the weather, no matter what the storm is that may be going on, or storm you're coming out of, going into, in the middle of. God will keep you at perfect peace. And if you'll do this right here, if we'll put on this kindness, humility, compassion, and forgiveness, but most of all, make sure we're walking in and sharing God's love. Not our love, but God's love. So God bless you. Hope you have a great Monday.